Papoose, you have my lawyer's information. If you can't afford to retain a lawyer, since your lawyer that the number you gave us has not been retained yet, I told you I'll paper it. If somebody over there that loves you wants to paper it, great. That will make me happy. Everything is signed and ready to go. I don't want nothing. I'm not even asking for child support. My daughter's school, her babysitter, her nanny, her gymnastics, her swimming, her dancing, her healthcare, her all of that. I take care of it like I've always done. I don't need any.
I just like to express this one thing. All these girls be like, thank you to my man. And I want to say, to my hands, thank you to my hands. To my hands, thank you to my hands. Listen, for me knowing how to fight and me training hard, I make millions of dollars just from beating people up. So, to my hands, thank you to my hands. To my hands, thank you to my...
It's starting to look like Claressa Shields is finally waking up from the fantasy she built in her head about her and Papoose, and when a dream crashes, the fall hurts even more. For months, she was glowing online like she'd hit the ultimate jackpot, acting as if the moment Papoose stepped away from remyma, she was suddenly crowned the winner. Claressa made it a point to show the world she felt chosen, pushing the idea that being with Papoose was the real cheat code to life. And she stood 10 toes down on that story. But now that same so-called cheat code has flipped on her. Word is, Claressa feels played, saying Papoose used her image, her platform, and her momentum to level himself up, all while quietly keeping the door half open for remyma. That realization hits even harder when you've already branded yourself as the upgrade. When the spotlight is hot, everything feels sweet. But when the lights go cold, the tears hit different. Now people are asking the real questions. Did Claressa truly believe the situation was clean, or did she ignore every red flag because the attention felt too good in the moment? A man fresh out of a long, very public marriage rarely moves on without unfinished business, and most people saw that from the jump. Now the story is shifting. Claressa is leaning into heartbreak, while the internet has already picked a side. Some say she just got caught up in the moment. Others believe she knew exactly what it was. She just never expected to be the one left holding the bag. Either way, the fairy tale is cracking, and the comment section is showing no mercy. When you really break it down, none of this should be surprising at all. remyma and Papoose are still legally married, yet Papoose has been moving like a full-time partner to Claressa Shields. That alone shows the foundation was shaky from day one. You can't build anything solid when the paperwork, the history, and the emotions are still tied to someone else. Every other day, Claressa was popping up in blogs, either trading shots with remyma or loudly declaring that Papoose was the best thing that ever happened to her. She made it her mission to let the world know she felt chosen. They were glued together at events, interviews, and public appearances, giving off that us against the world energy. Wherever Claressa showed up, Papoose was right there, no hesitation. Even when remyma allegedly exposed text messages suggesting Papoose wasn't providing the way Claressa claimed, Claressa still stood 10 toes down. She brushed it off and doubled down, saying Remy was just bitter and jealous because she never got to experience the kind of love Claressa said she was getting. That confidence, the whole public confidence vs private reality act, was loud, non-stop, and everywhere. But now, the very situation she defended so hard is starting to look messy, and the narrative she once controlled is slipping right out of her hands. At this point, Claressa Shields isn't just known for her boxing legacy anymore. For a lot of people, her name is now tied to the non-stop drama surrounding remyma and Papoose. When your relationship starts making more noise than your career, that's usually the clearest sign something isn't sitting right. When love becomes the headline instead of your success, it's never a good look, it's a warning. When Papoose and Claressa Shields showed up for that Breakfast Club interview, it was never supposed to be a joint moment. Papoose was there to promote his own project, and Claressa was just meant to sit back as moral support, smiling, staying quiet, playing the background role. But the energy shifted fast the second DJ NB mentioned remyma. You could literally watch Claressa's expression change in real time. One minute she was relaxed and glowing. The next, her face hardened like she'd been waiting for that topic to come up. The moment remyma and Papoose's marriage entered the conversation, Claressa didn't hesitate. She pulled her chair closer, leaned in, and made it clear she had something to say. And in that second, people realized everything they needed to know. This wasn't just a supportive girlfriend tagging along quietly. This was someone deeply invested, emotionally locked in, and ready to defend her position on a very public stage. The way she jumped in showed it wasn't just a mention to her, it felt personal. What stood out the most? Nobody even asked Claressa to speak. She inserted herself because the topic hit a nerve. To a lot of viewers, it didn't come off as confidence. It looked more like someone trying to grab control of the narrative before it slipped out of her hands. From that moment on, the interview stopped being about Papoose's project and turned into another chapter of the ongoing triangle drama. And once you put relationship business on a platform like The Breakfast Club, there's no walking it back. The story belongs to the public now. People were really waiting to see how remyma would clap back, because for a minute it looked like she was giving Claressa Shields a whole lot of grace, even while Claressa and Papoose were putting their situation on full display. But Remy did the exact opposite of what everyone expected. She stayed quiet, brushed the dust off her shoulders, and kept it moving like none of it even mattered. And that silence hit harder than any comeback ever could. That's when Claressa really started spiraling online. She popped up everywhere, flexing designer bags, waving receipts, and talking big about how she doesn't need a man for anything because she can get it all herself. On the surface, it looked like confidence. But the timing told a very different story. While Claressa was loud and messy, Remy stayed calm, unbothered, and untouched by the noise. What made it sting even more? Papoose stepped away to spend the holidays with his wife and daughter. That part hit hard. Claressa jumped on live, showing off her Christmas tree and acting like everything was sweet, but people clocked the obvious. Papoose wasn't there. He chose family over her, and that spoke volumes. The fact that he didn't acknowledge her publicly during the holidays only added fuel to the fire. Everyone knows holidays reveal exactly where you stand, and Claressa knew it too. That's why she rushed into damage control, claiming Papoose didn't spend Christmas with Remy either and even calling her an ex-wife. The internet didn't let that slide. There is no ex-wife when the marriage is still legally intact, and people wasted no time reminding her of that. From that moment on, the narrative was no longer in Claressa's hands, and the cracks in the whole situation became impossible to ignore. People still haven't let this go, and the shade toward Claressa Shields just keeps getting heavier. When folks slowed down remyma's shopping video and really paid attention, they swear they caught a familiar voice in the background, one that sounded exactly like Papoose. That tiny detail sent the internet straight into detective mode. If Papoose really was out shopping with Remy that day, it explains perfectly why Claressa started spiraling online right after. Because let's be real, nothing stings more than realizing the man you've been defending might be out spending money on another woman's wardrobe while you're fronting like everything's solid. The optics alone were brutal. Claressa tried to clean it up fast. She jumped back online claiming Papoose had already spoiled her with luxury Christmas gifts and that he was thinking about her the whole time. She made sure to say she wasn't pressed and didn't need a man's money anyway. But the timing made it feel like damage control, not confidence. And that's the problem. When explanations start coming without anyone even asking, people start reading between the lines. Instead of calming things down, it only made folks question the situation even more. At this point, the internet isn't debating whether feelings are hurt anymore. They are debating who really has Papoose's attention when the cameras are off. That question keeps Claressa Shields right in the hot seat. And then came the flex. You already know how it goes. My man always comes through for his queen. Suddenly, she's online showing off a Louis Vuitton travel bag, hyping it up like proof of a fairy tale. Gym bag, duffel bag, didn't matter. The message was loud. He spoils me, I'm really that girl. But it didn't take the internet long to start connecting dots. And once they did, things got awkward fast. People noticed the luxury items Claressa was flexing and claiming came from her boyfriend were the exact same pieces she had already shown days earlier, back when she said she bought them herself. That's when the tone shifted. What once looked like confidence started looking like overcompensation. Like she felt pressured to prove she was the prize in a situation that never truly belonged to her. The comments got ruthless. Folks started saying this wasn't empowerment, this was insecurity dressed up in designer labels. And the deeper people looked, the clearer one thing became. Papoose never once showed real signs of leaving his wife for good. Instead, he showed up when it was convenient, enjoyed the attention, soaked in the spotlight, and stayed silent when it mattered most. To a lot of people, it looked like he was loving the moment, and maybe even the boost to his image, without ever committing to anything real. Yeah, you see it. Claressa Shields and Papoose. You see the love. That's how people were talking when clips started circling of him supposedly dropping the bag on her, literally. Designer money, Louis Vuitton bags, all of it. Folks were hyping it up like a fairy tale. beautiful black love, real joy, real happiness. Everyone was shouting her out, shouting Papoose out, calling it a win for love and for her next big fight. But then the energy shifted. Word on the street now is that Claressa's whole vibe has changed. Behind the scenes, she's allegedly telling people that Papoose played her, and that if she'd known he was still emotionally tied to remyma, she never would have entertained him in the first place. That realization hits different when the internet already clocked the situation before you could even admit it yourself. Sources say this whole thing might be wrapping up way sooner than anyone expected. Once the illusion cracks, it's hard to keep pretending, especially when the receipts don't match the story. And right now, the story isn't looking good for Claressa at all. Even with her trying to walk things back, people still aren't buying it. From the very beginning, the internet felt like she was low-key obsessed with remyma. She went from publicly asking Remy for fashion and style tips to suddenly popping up in Papoose's orbit like it was nothing. That switch never sat right with people. Sliding into a married man's space and then proudly engaging with him in public had folks looking at Claressa sideways from day one. And now, with everything coming full circle, that early feeling doesn't seem so wrong after all. Side-eye from day one. And the commentary online has been ruthless ever since. But it also reveals how people really feel. A lot of viewers have said they never want a relationship that looks anything like what Claressa Shields and Papoose had going on. Some even questioned whether Papoose was her first real boyfriend, because the way she moved came off like pure inexperience mixed with over-attachment. It looked like someone trying way too hard to lock down something that was never fully available in the first place. And now, the big question is this: was Claressa genuinely blindsided, or did she ignore every sign because the attention felt too good at the time? A man who's still legally married, still tied to his family, and still moving carefully was never going to offer real clarity. So where does this end? Do people really see Papoose sticking around, or was he always planning to take what he could and quietly exit when the moment passed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe, and stay locked in, because this saga is far from over. Fire!